Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe. I'm thankful for Jeremy and his willingness to be brave. Oh my God, please, God, please. Oh my God. Oh my God, please let me out of here. Please, God. Please, God, please let me out of here. Please, God. Please. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The last two firefighters to enter the engine received burn injuries. The flames from the fire began impacting the right side of the engine, and Tom ran to the left side. He could already feel himself burning and began looking for a place to deploy his fire shelter. The engine operator pleaded with the engine boss to seek shelter in the engine as the fire burned around them.
Hey guys, I think some of us go all the way out, man. All the way out to the stage for turnaround. Can we get everyone in? Go to the stage for turnaround. Pass them on the left. Pass them on the left.
But they were overtaken by the flames and caught in a death trap.
I'm so lucky to be alive. I went down the canyon into a creek. It came over me and I thought I was going to die.
When he returned to the scene, he found his truck, which he fled from as flames closed in. And he found that not one of his friends had made it.
There's a bunch of dead bodies here. We got trapped. Oh, nobody made it down here.
We won't show you the most harrowing moments, but they are causing outrage on social media. So insensitive goes one typical comment, but others are defending the video.
Uh-oh. Why is fire here? There's always fire here. We're gonna get on fire. It's gonna happen when we get fire. Those fires.
Hey, guess what? We're not gonna catch on fire, okay? We're gonna stay away from it. And we'll be just fine. Okay? We're doing all right. Baby, it'll be all right.
Outlet. Oh, there's Jiffy's. Holy. Oh my God, it's more people. Crap, I'm one of them. Go get them, boys. Be safe. Still heading southbound on Clark. Everything's burned. Oh my God, I mean everything. I've been in the fire service for almost 25 years. And yeah, now I get it what it's like for your own town to burn. It's not a good feeling.
This is the turn going up from Pence Road. I don't even know where I am. It's on fire. And we're stuck in the middle of it. And these trees can come down at any moment.
Now you are listening there to the voice of our next guest. Nicole Jolly works as a nurse at a hospital in Paradise, and she herself barely escaped the fire. Well, with that, we are reaching out to Nicole this morning. She joins us in Chico, California. Nicole, thank you for joining us today. You know, we have to tell people the Paradise, California, yes, a town in your home state, but Paradise is also your home community. You barely escaped with your life. How are you today?
I'm alive. And I'm together with my family. And it's, it's okay. We're gonna be okay.
And I think we need to say the fact that, you say you're alive because you did have such a narrow escape from paradise. You're a nurse, you're working at the hospital trying to evacuate patients. And walk us through, because once you had evacuated the patients, you tried to get out of paradise altogether, but found yourself in some very dangerous times. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I started work on Thursday morning, and it was a normal day. I went to work, I got my 5 patients, and, it was supposed to be a really good day. It was my Friday, and, I was excited for the day. I was making plans to go to coffee later with friends, and I decided, after I got my assignment, I decided to see my most critical patients first, and I just did. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Nicole.
So I decided from there I was going to see my most critical patients. As soon as I got into the very first room, I hadn't been more than 20 minutes after I clocked in, we were evacuating that hospital. And I was putting my most critical patients in wheelchairs and getting them to the emergency room as fast as I could. I had to, put patients that could drive in their own vehicles and tell them, good luck, and I never thought I'd have to do that. And so we've been trained at this hospital for evacuations. We're a very well-organized facility. We've gotten evacuated before in 2008, but fire never came, that close. And so, we've been training for a long time. We got that entire hospital evacuated in 20 minutes. It was unbelievable.
You evacuated the hospital in 20 minutes, as you say, but then you tried to evacuate yourself and find that it's not so easy. Tell us about what happened when you tried to get out of the town yourself.
So once I knew everybody was safe and out of the hospital, I went to go to my car, and there's trees right next to my car that are just completely on fire. And that's when I kind of realized, did I make a mistake staying? Was this okay? And so I decided to get into my car, drive over to the CHP, and I called him, or I asked him, I said, hey, where do we go from here? And you should have seen the look on his face. He didn't even know where to go. There was no open roads. He said, all I know is Clark Road, which is on the other side of town, is open. Make your way that way. And lo and behold, he was sending me into a firestorm, because when I turned on 10th Road in Pearson, I got stuck in this ravine, and the winds were 50 miles per hour, and they were just blowing these fire tornadoes onto my car. And it was just being in literally a hellstorm. And I called my husband and I said, the car's on fire. It's filling up with smoke. I'm not going to make it. You need to take care of the kids. And he said, no, you need to get out. You need to run. Don't die, run, And I told him, I said, there's no way I can make it. There's fire everywhere. And it was so hot. And I knew if I stayed in the car, I was going to die. But if I got out, I was probably going to die too. So I decided, well, I'll take the chances, because I know I'm going to die sitting here. It was catching on fire. So I opened up the door and I ran to the car in front of me, which was my best friend, and her car's melting in front of me. And I couldn't do anything. I couldn't save her. So I went to the next car, and that car let me in, and we sat there and prayed. And I just prayed to God, please, God, don't let me die like this. And I was just thinking how horrible of a death it would be to be in the car and die in a car like this and not be, we were so helpless. And so my husband told me, the last thing he told me was, so I got out of the car and whatever I could find, there was nothing in front of me. It was just, it was so hot, my eyes were burning, so I had to shut my eyes. And I couldn't breathe. There was no oxygen left in the air, and it was burning my throat. And so I put my hand out, and I closed my eyes, and I just ran, and I ended up running into the back of a fire truck. And I knocked on the door, and 2 firemen came out, swooped me up, put me into the fire engine, and said, you're okay, you know, and they were calling for air support, and they said, we need air support, we're not going to make it, we need air support. And dispatch on the other end said, that's impossible, we can't bring you air support. And I just got to thinking, well, get out of your engine, use the fire hoses, like, get a fire extinguisher, you guys know what to do. They had no idea what to do. We had to sit in this firestorm, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way they can there's no way they're gonna let me leave. I can't run now, because that's all I wanted to do was just run. I just wanted to run to safety, and there was nowhere safe.
Now, luckily for you, though, you ended up actually back at the hospital, and you're with us today. Very quickly, as we're losing time here, Paradise, your home community, has essentially been decimated.
Yeah,
But as
it's
you
gone.
how is that like for you to see?
It's hard. I was born in that hospital. It's my hometown. My grandma's buried in the cemetery there. I lost it. It's hard. It's hard when you've lost your job, your house, friends. It's devastating.
Nicole, I'm so sorry for everything that you've been through and everything you lost. We are thinking of you, and thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
And that's Nicole Jolly. She works as a nurse at a hospital in Paradise.
And Nicole, I just want you to know that our family love you. You know, we went through the same thing. Maybe not exactly the same thing, but, you know, we were residents there as well. So, yeah. Good morning, guys. I love you all so much, and I'm so thankful that you're watching my videos. I know that most of you are really nice. Some of you have been critical, and some of you have really tried to bully me. Not very many, but those that are trying to do that, I've done a little research, and just want to let the rest know they are making a lot of money. So because of that, I don't want you to send me money. This isn't about money. I mean, even if I were trying to take the money and help the people, we've got to figure out some other way than it going through me. I just want to be a spokesperson. I want to have no ulterior motives. I want to have no, you know, I want to live at peace with my conscience, of course, but I want to do this in a way that I'm just bringing you information. I'm not monetizing these videos. I'm not trying to get money with my views. I just want to get the truth out, the facts out, and especially about the Maui fire. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you Paradise Fire. I'm going to interview some people right here with us. So we were homeless for quite a while. We almost lost our child. We almost lost my mother to the government's programs, Child Protective Services. Also, they were going to put my mom in a care home because she can't walk because of the fire. That fire destroyed her life. This is the campfire. So I bought this old trailer for $1,500, and I didn't get title to it or anything. It's not even, I don't even have a title or, you know, registration or anything. It's from Idaho. Has a little teeny license plate over there, but what was important was that I was able to take some plywood and some furniture, and I play the piano, keyboard. Someone gave me this keyboard, which was a huge blessing. It was actually a homeless man that I had helped out gave me that keyboard. It came to me in the mail. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to talk to my mother, and I'm going to share with you this morning. I'm exhausted, guys. I really apologize. So we're staying at this house that a lady has taken us in and is helping us because FEMA, Red Cross, those entities would not help us, did not help us, and we have not to this day gotten a penny from anyone, including some sort of settlement, trust, anything like that. So I'm going to go in and talk to my mom first. Okay, guys, so here's my mother. Her name is Constance, and I told her I'm going to be interviewing her. How old are you, Mom?
85.
Yeah, 85. She's been a great mom, and we've hiked Half Dome together up the back. She loved to walk and explore, and she looks younger than she is, I would say. She was fixing her hair and getting ready for this interview today. She is completely unable to walk, even really stand on her own. She can't stand on her own. We have to be right there with a gait belt and use a Hoyer lift and stuff like that. I'm not going to explain or show you really, but what is the story of the campfire? I mean, I know that it's to relive it, to talk about it. It's emotional, it's hard, and if you feel like you need to cry, Mom, you can.
I was a caregiver, and I had to flee, and I had to drive through the fire. And it was very scary. I was scared for my life. I can imagine what the Maui people are going through, because I had all those feelings too, and nothing worse than to burn alive. And so after the fire, I went to Chico, to a big building where everybody was going, to meet up with FEMA.
Well, wait a minute. I want to stop for a second. If you would have just gone with the traffic and followed the police, you would have burned to death. But
Yes,
what did you do?
I had to sneak around through some buildings and get out of there, and everything was afire all around.
You had to go around the traffic on the incoming lane?
Yes, I did, as I was going down Clark.
And what was your thought? You thought, oh, these cars, you saw the fire, you thought to yourself, we're all gonna die, I better go around?
Yes, I had to go on the opposite way because nobody was moving. So I just had to not follow the traffic.
Not follow the crowd, in other words. Okay,
Right.
so important thing also is you had your client with you.
Yes,
So
they couldn't walk.
you had your client with you, and he was telling about his condition.
He had been in a motorcycle accident. He'd been in a coma for a couple months, and he couldn't walk, and he was deformed.
His hands were deformed. He was, what would you call him? A
Paraplegic.
paraplegic, not a quadriplegic, kind of a semi-quad, like, but definitely paraplegic, and limited use of his arms and no use of his hands.
Right.
Okay. And he was with you. Was he scared?
He was kind of mental. He didn't know enough to be. I'm sure he was.
Okay, so now you didn't know where to go, or they told you to go where? To the FEMA building, or where did you go? In Chico, down the hill.
I went to the FEMA building. You couldn't go on the day of the fire, but I went later, and I never got any help from FEMA.
Now you said they were giving $700 to some people.
Yes, but I didn't qualify, and I don't remember why I didn't qualify.
Well, I'm going to remind you, Mom, you didn't qualify because you have to have a utility bill somewhere on your phone or gadget, of course, or in your car that didn't burn up. You have to have an address, stuff like that, which you did have an address, but you were what's called what? A caregiver?
A live-in caregiver.
Yeah, you had rented a place, but what happened with the landlord on that place?
She claimed everything.
She claimed everything because it was her address?
Yes, I had a post office box because I was a caregiver for many years and lived in different places with people.
Different places in Paradise, or?
In Paradise.
So you lived in Paradise for how many years?
Maybe 13, 20, I don't know, a long time.
Okay.
But anyway, I was supposed to have a hip replacement.
That's what I want you to talk about.
And I wasn't-
Why can't you walk because of the fire?
The hip replacement didn't work.
Okay.
And I couldn't have it.
Let's go back. So the fire's happening. You were scheduled the next week after the fire. If the fire didn't happen, you were scheduled for a total hip replacement with Dr. Helmuth Jones.
Yes.
And so Dr. Helmuth Jones, excuse me,
Burned out, so they couldn't do it.
hospital burned, and you got a letter from him, his office, saying you could not do the surgery because the hospital burned.
Right.
So you had to reschedule
Months,
a year later. And during that time, you lost your home. You couldn't, you had to live in a place with your caregiver, which was difficult, I'm sure. But you had to work through without having hip surgery. And I'm going to just say, I'm going to add here, Mom, I saw you trying to walk and care for him when I stopped by. And you were shuffling around, and it was bone on bone, and you kept rubbing that bone on the bone for a year. And that's partially why when they did do the surgery, you had done so much damage to your leg trying to force it to move and to work that you had a really difficult time rehabilitating, and you just couldn't. I don't know if it's because, you know, you're stubborn, if it's because the pain. What would you say?
Pain.
Okay, so I'm gonna interview another person. So we're in a home here where a lady also lost everything in the campfire, but she owned this house, which was a rental, and she had to ask her renters to leave, which was a really hard thing to do because housing was in high demand. 50,000 people disappeared, that lost their homes. We don't know where they went, but does it seem amazing to you that they said 80 some people died?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I toured the town, and it's all the way from Chico clear up to Golden Feather Church. I mean, the fire is extensive in miles.
3 or 4 towns.
Yeah.
And could you just tell us about at least one of your friends who died in the fire so we can be respectful and
I
loving to
always
her?
saw her at church, Helen Waters, and she was a singer and played the piano, and Stephen sings. And they did music together, and we were good
Maybe
friends.
I'll share a video of her. I think I will. I have some.
And she died in her home because her husband went to work, but she stayed home. She was sleeping in. Some neighbors knocked on her door and couldn't wake her or rouse her, so she burned to death in her. And it's dramatic to think of. And then we had another friend that burned to death in their home.
What about my stepdad, your husband, Russell Kenyon, where he rented because of the problems you were having in your relationship? He rented another place. Did you stay with him sometimes?
Yes. I went and
Could you just explain, were you really fighting with him, or was that just some disagreements?
Disagreements, or just, I was working, and I would go and clean his house and stay the night and keep him company, and then leave and go to work.
Now, when I checked and asked the church that you went to for records, they show that as your address. And did it burn?
Yes.
Okay, so you may not know this, but your neighbors there, they didn't leave. They got a garden hose out, and they were running around the yard, the couple there. They both died. Did you know that?
No.
They didn't make it out.
The neighbors of Judy.
Yes, where you live there, Judy's address. Can you explain that address? It was a house with what?
Well, it had, in the house, there was a door you go through, and it had an apartment. It had a kitchen and bathroom and living room and bedroom as part of the house.
A separate area.
Yeah.
Separate kitchen. Okay, and last, did Red Cross or FEMA give you any money or help you?
No. Red Cross or FEMA did not help me. I went and tried a number of times. I stood in line.
So it's been about 5 years, and this is what I want to tell the Maui people. You kept thinking that you're going to get some help from the Wildfire Trust or from something that would help you.
I haven't got anything yet, but I remember going to Chico to the Sears store and standing in line for FEMA and Red Cross and got nothing. And another time I was at the Walmart store where they had a trailer set up and people were in line. And I stood in that line.
You don't qualify, Mom, because you're 80 years old and because you're a caregiver, okay? You have to be a homeowner, you have to have a job, and you can't be a caregiver. There's certain things that, you can't be homeless. You have to be a little bit more upper class. They don't help the lower class
The
people.
stress of my life, I can hardly talk.
Hi, Pumpkin. How you doing? Good morning. I'm interviewing Grandma over here about the campfire before you were born. It's really horrible and sad that our children have to, come into this world with such evil, horrible people that run these entities and get on TV smiling and say, oh yeah, we're doing the right thing. We're helping people. Come here, give me a hug. Good to see you. I was waiting for you to wake up. Good morning. Okay, Mom. Well, thank you so much for the answering of the questions. Would you say that the people of Maui, they should really trust or have hopes in their heart for money coming in somehow from FEMA or from some?
Well, from my experience, I'll have to say no.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Mom. Do you have any revenge or any grudge against these agencies? No. That hurts us, doesn't it, to hold hard feelings. We just have to move forward and live our life and do the very best we can.
Yes.
And who do you put your trust and your faith in?
God.
Amen. Okay, thank you, Mom. Okay, Carolyn, thank you so much for being willing to do this interview. Abiella wants to be in it, so
that's funny.
Let's go ahead and start. So your name is Carolyn, and
yes,
you survived the Paradise Fire, which is called the Camp Fire.
Yes.
And can you just go into some details? What I'm trying to help the Maui people with right now, that's our other home, our other hometown where I've lived since I was 4 years old. Mostly Molokai, but that's part of Maui County, and Lahaina was the main town that we were shopping at. We'd go on the ferry over there and stuff. Sometimes my son worked on the ferry, actually. So we had our own boat. We went back and forth. Some of the people are relying on or thinking they're going to get help from FEMA and from Red Cross. I don't want to go and start a bunch of false rumors, and I'm not out to, blacken or create some sort of negative story about agencies that are there to help. I know that people donate to these agencies. We as Americans, we always talk good about the Red Cross. We talk good about FEMA as a federal emergency disaster, and they were there, and we watched the news. But, when I started hearing stories coming from people in Maui, I had people calling me. I posted my phone number. I've got over 3,000 calls from people in Maui who have tried to reach out to FEMA and can't even get through. In fact, one lady said to me that she kept calling, and they would tell her to call Red Cross. She'd call Red Cross, they'd tell her to call FEMA. Eventually, a FEMA representative said, you need an invitation letter from us before you can call us. You need an invitation. It needs to be in a letter for me. And of course, their address burned up, so where is it going to be sent to?
Right.
Oh, it's going to be an email. Some of these people, like in her situation, her parents don't really use email. They're in their 80s. And her dad was found alive after the fire burned, crawling on his hands and knees. The mom was in a different area of the town. They got separated because of the smoke and stuff, and she survived.
Wow.
If anyone needs help, someone like they would.
Yes.
But they haven't gotten help. And so I thought, well, let me start interviewing people here. I would start with my mom, which I already did. Now I'm going to come to you.
Okay.
So tell us your story.
Okay.
So I want to say so you're a caregiver. You didn't have a home. You didn't have a utility bill. You're a lot like my mom. You're a caregiver.
Yeah, I'm a caregiver. I lived with my...
you get paid through the county?
IHSS
State
worker,
program. Okay.
and the lady I worked for, Gladys, was 95 years old. I was living in Paradise at early in the morning. It was actually a Thursday, and it was supposed to be my day off, but Cynthia, the lady that worked with us, she was the POA. She went grocery shopping, found out early in the morning, like at 6-something in the morning, that the fire had started in Paradise. And she came
to the house and said, you need to pack up and get out of Paradise as soon as possible because the town is burning, and it's coming this way. And so actually by 9 o'clock, I put Gladys in the car and her wheelchair, and I grabbed a few belongings, not very much, because I had the thought that we'd be back, and so I didn't really grab that much stuff. And we were on Billy, and we turned on Clark, and there was 4 lanes going out towards Chico and Orville on Clark Road. There's 4 lanes.
Keep talking. I just want to make sure it's recording.
We were on the right-hand side of the Clark. The 5th lane was for emergency vehicles only.
Mm-hmm.
We were sitting at McDonald's, and the fires on the right side where we were there was trees on fire right there, and we were just inching along because everybody in the whole town of Paradise was trying to get out of town. And so we were just inching along. So I was crying out to God to get out of there and get the traffic moving, and it was pretty scary. It was right there.
Did you feel at this time that this was, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. Did you feel like this was an attack on the town, or did you feel like it was a natural thing going on, or?
I didn't really know at the time. I just know that it was really windy, and it was causing the fire to spread rapidly through the town. And I didn't really know too much about any kind of conspiracy, but
so you made it out.
We made it out. We went,
and it was
out.
Scary, and you could have died. I mean, a lot of people did die in their cars.
I know.
Some cars burst into flames because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Did you have your air condition going? And
I don't remember really.
You were probably too
I
shook
was,
up or scared.
I was, in shock.
What was your level of fear, do you think?
It was pretty high. I mean, I'm a Christian, and I believe God would get us out of there. I was crying out to him, and I'm sure everybody else was too. And we went down Clark. We turned over to Elliott. They made us turn on Elliott going towards Skyway. Then I had the thought to go to my sister's house, which was on Row Road. So we cut across Pearson and went on to Foster, and then on to Row Road, and sat at my sister's house for maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
They helped me because I hadn't eaten breakfast, and I didn't have any gasoline to get out of there. I had very little gas, so my brother-in-law had a gas can with some gas in it, and he put some in my tank so I could get
Okay, now this is
Orville.
Yes. Bless his heart. So
Yeah.
this is the part that's important, and we want to let the Maui people know what's going to happen, what's in their pathway from here with regards to these agencies.
Yes.
You went to FEMA, you went to Red Cross.
Yes.
And what did they give you?
Nothing. I
Nothing.
didn't get anything. No, if I got anything, it was just a little gift card, maybe for $25, or I don't know.
Bottle of water.
Yeah, I got water. I didn't really get anything substantial. I didn't get anything really from FEMA, and I didn't qualify because I didn't own a home.
Okay, so that's the point that I'm trying to make here, guys. So
I
said it. I
was
didn't
a
say
live-in.
it. So if you're an elderly person, 95 years old, or and you don't own a home and you live with someone, or they're helping you out, and so my mother, she is a philanthropist. She's like Mother Teresa.
Right.
I'm not trying to
Right.
put her up too high, but she really was known in the community for her homeless shelters, crisis centers that I ran with her. She was volunteering, working for free, plus 80 years old and working full time. How many hours? You know, she worked. You know her. How many hours do you think she worked a week? Do you remember? 70 something. 70
something.
76
I
or
worked full time for the lady I worked for.
40 hours a week or 24/7 or?
It was 10-hour days, seven days a week. So I had the full.
Wow, so
The full amount of what could be given because the lady was bedridden, and I had to pretty much do everything for her.
Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. There's quite a few people out there that are reaching out to me that survived the fire here.
Yeah.
And we want to let the Maui people know that you really don't want to get your hopes up with these agencies. And also,
yeah,
I don't want to be, shut down just because I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
I don't want some agency to say, or some government person to say, let's shut down his channel. Let's. A friend of mine, I'm going to be interviewing him soon here. He was actually arrested for blowing the whistle on FEMA.
Yeah.
He just told, and then next thing he knew is sheriff were there and arrested him.
Wow. That's
and
amazing.
The charges were dropped later. But I'll tell you, I was down at the jail to see someone, and I was shocked when I'm sitting there and all the people come into their court. I'm waiting for people to come in because they're having a hearing to whether they're going to bail them out, let them go, or sentence them, their plea or whatever. All of these people were in jail clothes, orange or whatever color it was. I can't remember. I think it was orange. They had chains between their legs.
Wow.
And handcuffs. Do you know who these people were? They were old people.
Wow.
They were law-abiding citizens. They were sweet-looking people. Just normal people.
Yeah.
Had never been in trouble with the law.
Wow.
And you know what their charges were?
What?
For being caught going back to their house after the fire.
Yeah.
You know why? They were trying to find their child or their animal. Of course, they're not going to be there, but there's an emotional attachment to your home and your children,
right?
Your wife, and of course, you just can't say no sometimes. You want to go back and have some sort of closure.
Right.
And these people got arrested and were treated like criminals for going back.
Wow.
That really broke my heart.
Yeah.
To see that.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, and that was actually before we could go back up the hill, because right now we're close by, but we couldn't go up the hill, right? You remember that?
Yeah, we couldn't go back in for like
the
2 weeks or 3 weeks. We were
it was a lot
stuck
longer than that.
in,
It was we
some
could go
kind of shelter.
We can go into some areas, but we couldn't go back to our home. It was months.
No,
I remember months.
Yeah, it was like 2.5, 3 months. We had
Yeah.
to stay in Yuba City in a flea bag motel, because they took pets, and that's the only place we could go that would take pets. So
Yeah.
that's where I slept on the floor on a blow-up mattress.
So it is really, really serious about going back into a burn zone.
They don't let you.
They don't let you.
Cynthia tried to go back in several times to find out about her home in Magalia. They wouldn't let her in.
Right.
They said, no, you're not allowed to go in.
Yeah, and her home didn't burn. My home, one of my homes that I rented didn't burn.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't let us in, and they made us leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's interesting, so I haven't gotten anything. I signed up. I ran and owned the crisis center there, SLE Mission House. My mother was owner with me. She came off as owner. My son then became part owner. He didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that, why? I thought these agencies were out there to help us and to give us some sort of support of money.
You did mention that you had to move, so that's...
Yeah, I did. I just said that.
I had to move. I moved to Magalia, and we slept I slept in the same room with Gladys, and
95
it
year old.
was I could hear her breathing and coughing, and
She didn't
I
have
hear everything, So it wasn't real restful sleep or anything, but at least we had a home to go to. Thank God.
Yeah. And that's kind of the sad thing is when the infrastructure goes down, water, power, stuff like that, even if your house doesn't burn, you can't go back to it.
Yeah, you
can't say, oh, I'm going to use my generator. I got some bottles of water. You can't go back.
They had to have a company come in and
check it for
clean the whole house. They tried to scrub the walls and ceiling, and they did the carpeting, and smoke damage was happening.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I want to go on.
Shut down after 8 years of living there. You don't get moved.
Yeah.
The landlord.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate it very much. God bless. All right, so you've heard from my mother, Constance, Carolyn. She happens to be in this same house where we're staying. It's kind of like the crisis center 5 years after this fire, and no help, no money. There's talk that maybe from the wildfire, but actually I removed my name from it. I went in, I asked the wildfire trust people, just take my name off. I had them take my son's name off too. I talked to him about it. So we don't expect to get anything, and yeah, that's the most important thing. I wanted you to know that we're not getting money from these agencies. So you really have to work hard, do the very best you can to try to figure out ways to survive and start your life over. What happened to us in the campfire? That's what I was going to share. Well, I'm not going to get into all of the conspiracies, and I'm not even going to say that they're a theory. I think that they're a real thing. I think that there's enough evidence that I've seen with my own eyes that there was a real conspiracy. Just the fact that a guy that I'm going to be interviewing was arrested for telling some of the truths of official people and what they had did or not done. This is what I want to try to emphasize. We talk about this in such a relaxed way, but it really is something that is really hard to talk about. I see people trying to talk about it right after and in the wake. They're in Maui, they break down, they cry, people that I know. And exactly, that's what I would do. I probably couldn't talk about it. I can't even talk about this 5 years later, what happened to us here. So, guys, I'm in California right now. I came over here not too long ago to help my mother because she couldn't get on a plane because she's in too much pain to get back. She left Hawaii to see her orthopedic surgeon who did her total hip replacement. I didn't think it was a good idea. I said, Mom, you don't need to see him again, but it was a an appointment that she didn't want to miss. I don't know if it's an annual checkup or something, but why couldn't she have done it over the phone? She came here and then she couldn't get on the plane back. Maybe first class, but she has to lay flat, so we haven't tried. So we're here, trying to survive and trying to figure out what to do. And then this happens there in Lahaina, and it's just, I feel like the people of Lahaina need to know what they have to look forward to, which is a lot of lies, a lot of horribleness, a lot of sadness. And I do want to say again, this place here could take in another person or two. I know that, and I know of other places. So I've tried to notify a number of people in Maui who are movers and shakers, who are posting videos, who want to help. And they said they basically won't talk to me. They say go to their resource page, add my resource there and stuff. I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to talk to each person, and I know if I haven't talked to you, I'm sorry. I'm going to get to you. I do have to sleep a certain amount of hours. I do have to take care of my mother. I had to change her Depends this morning, get her out of bed. My wife took care of her late last night, so she was sleeping. She's also nursing still. So we are very busy taking care of our family, the two of us, and it's a full-time job. And I haven't gotten paid for any of this. I don't get any money for any of the caregiving. I'm trying to work with the state and the county so that I can actually get a few hours, but they're only giving, you know, I think 2.5 or 3 hours for 24-hour day, you know, in minimum wage. There are a lot of critical people out there. I bring it on, guys. Be critical of me. I want corrective criticism, especially, and I want to do the right thing. A few of you said I was a scam or whatever. I called you up, and then you immediately said, well, you're a hero because you called me. And I get it. We need to have actual conversations. I'm going to call everyone back, but I know that I'm going to get people who are not on the right side, people who are investigating, who are scamming, people who are trying to figure out how to shut me down. I'm not scared because perfect love casts fear. When you have love, I have love for even the FEMA people. I have love for everybody. That's not going to, you know, work to put fear in me. I've had a lot of people try to threaten me, put fear in me, bully me, take my channel down, stop posting videos. Why? Have you seen or heard anything that I've shared that I shouldn't share? Comment, let me know, because that's disturbing when people want me to remove my videos and stuff like that. I'm just trying to help, and in every video I want you to know that you know, if I say, oh, I have this place or that place, then I can get criticized, or, you know, maybe, I don't want to say what could happen. All I know is I'm not going to go out and post here what my assets are. I don't have income, Social Security, I don't have disability, I'm not retired, so I don't have retirement. I'm 53 years old. I'm a hard-working guy who barely knows how to use the internet, and I just know how to use my phone, and I have a little helper coming over here. Come here, sweetie pie. Oh, you're gonna be on that side of the camera. Well, come over on this side. No, don't touch it. Come here. You wanna come around this side? You're gonna be on that side? Come here and say hi to everybody. Come here. Come here. She's really determined. She wants to be the camera lady. Okay, so my 2-year-old, Aviella, she might bump the camera, might wiggle a little bit. But don't move it, don't touch it. Thank you. I'm trying to do this quickly. It's just hard because when you go to talk about this stuff, the horror that we went through, I'm gonna have to interview my son. He tried to catch up with Grandma, but he was in his Mini Cooper. He was driving that car, and there was a couple beside the road that he stopped to see if, you know, they were, I don't know if they flagged him down, you know, waved him down or what, but they got his attention. They were out of gas. An older couple ran out of gas trying to escape the fire. So he said, well, you can use my car. Now, I had a trailer with all my books and files and things like that were important to me, I thought. And there was really important files on the countertop that burned. Thank you. Thank you very much. He's bringing me peppermint. Come here. I don't think that's peppermint. That doesn't taste like peppermint. Let me see it. Is that peppermint? No, that's not peppermint. Where'd you get it? She's wanting to know about plants, and she loves to eat herbs and things. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what happened, but they ended up driving his car with the trailer I think they turned around. It must not have been far from the house, because somehow he got back to, he might have gotten a road. Don't eat that one, no. That's don't eat that one. He got his motorcycle, it's a street bike, and then he put his phone on a device or gadget, somehow a holding thing on the motorcycle, so I could see him driving through the smoke, riding, I should say, the motorcycle. And I was out of town that particular day, but what I went through was incredibly hard, because I had 25 homeless people who were handicapped, mostly elderly, that I was taking care of and helping at our crisis center. I also had a man with me out of state who had dementia, and in the confusion and me trying to help with the fire and everything, orchestrate people getting out, he disappeared, and I was never able to get him back. But he got disoriented. The police found him. They put him in a hospital. I tried to go see him, and even though I had durable power of attorney for medical and everything, they actually were going to press charges against me for elder abuse, for allowing him to get out. I had a gate, you know, it's not like he's supposed to be trapped or a prisoner. I was just responsible for his care, and he's an old friend from childhood. He was with us. It was really a hard thing. The people in that town, just, they were clueless, and they didn't really care about the campfire and what was going on. And that's the other thing I want to share with you guys there in Maui, is that in a lot of ways, and in a lot of cases, unless someone's there or they've been there, they really are. I've asked a lot of people, are you following what's going on in Maui? And they say, no, what's happening in Maui? Shockingly, there are lots of people that don't even know about the Maui fire, and even government people. And so, you know, out of sight, out of mind, kind of like they don't care. But the good news is that I've received a lot of texts and a lot of calls from people all over who are trying to do something to help. I talked to a lady who has put together these collages of pictures of families with their QR codes for Venmo and Cash App and stuff. She's communicating with them. She wants to help them directly, and so she's putting those down at the subway stations in Chicago, and there's someone in New York doing a similar thing. Some of the QR codes were too blurry, so she was trying to, and she's spending all her own money to do this. So Maui people, we want you to know that we love you. You know, I started the Kalapa House of Charity to serve Maui County, to help the indigent, the people who are caregivers of their parents, the people who are public servants at the lowest degree, maybe cleaning up the trash, and especially the homeless community, the people who don't have a home. They are really treated bad. The homeowners are also going to be treated bad, but in a different way. We cannot depend on or rely on truthful information. The news that happened after the campfire here in Paradise, oh, it was so ridiculous. Those of us that went through it and knew what was happening and knew the truth, and they were saying, we have 80-something people confirmed dead. Well, where are they? We had 50,000 people here. There's 27,000 in Paradise, Concal, or surrounding areas. Where did the people go? You know, sure, a lot of them got out. I'll tell you, there's nothing that motivates a person to get out of an area like a fire. I'm going to share with you some of the videos, and you probably already saw it here. I'm going to edit it in so you can get a sense of the terror and what we went through. I knew that a lot of my friends would be burning in their car, and just knowing that, just to be sitting with my gadgets, my computer, my iPad, my phones, and trying to get people out, trying to figure out ways. There's one lady, I had the idea, she had the idea to go the bike trail. This bike trail in Paradise is separate. It's not along the side of the main road. It's an actual small road paved that meanders through the entire town, and cars weren't thinking to use that, but it wasn't being blocked, you know. So thank the Lord, thank God the government didn't block that. But no one really, hardly anyone thought of that. But my friend Cynthia did, and she went right through and got clear to the bottom of the town. So for those also who didn't make it, for Helen and so many others, we need to do something, guys, to prepare people for the next fire, because they are happening and they're going to happen. And that's a what is that? That's a grape leaf. You can eat grape leaves. Yeah.
Try?
Yeah, you can try. That's a grape leaf. Several of you guys have said, what about the Malibu fire? What about this fire, that fire? There are so many fires, and my heart goes out to anybody and everybody who suffered from a fire. Yes. Any fire is bad. And so, I guess, what was the cause of the fire? Those are some of the things that we need to have answers to. And let's fight the good fight of faith. Let's have faith in God. Let's do our very best to get through these things in a way that makes sense. I don't know, it's hard to make sense out of any of this, but with the least amount of suffering, the least amount of loss of life, prepare for these things. And I want to continue talking about it. I feel like I'm rambling because I don't want to be pushing sensationalism or giving false information or conspiracy theories. These are real conspiracies that have happened and really a crime against humanity. I'm going to be sharing some things here. Let me just do a closing. I want to share with you guys here. Can I just say it? Okay, I'm not a firefighter. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not an engineer. I'm not any of those things. I'm a naturalist. I'm an entrepreneur in some ways. I'm a father. I've raised children, grandchildren. I am someone who loves to help people who are maybe less fortunate or having a difficult time in life, sometimes from their own choices, but I don't look at that. I look at their desire to change and do the right thing. Thank you, sweetie pie. I'm going to save that for later. Yeah. So think about this. What's the best thing that defends you against fire? Water. Do you think there's a shortage of water in Maui? People have been talking about a shortage of water in Maui. Like, are you kidding me? Lahaina is right on the ocean. Over in Kona, there's the spirulina ponds, and they have these big, huge pipes like this, giant pumps. They go down 2,000 feet in the ocean and suck up water for these ponds so they can grow the spirulina. And they actually distill it. They convert it into fresh water. You don't need fresh water to put out a fire, guys. All you need is water. Salt doesn't hurt it. Also, a friend of mine designed something which is quite unique and awesome. A bottle of Dawn dish soap makes enough suds to bury a house, and when the flames and the embers hit that, it can't burn, and it doesn't make everything wet in the furniture. So between foam, putting out fires with foam, putting out fires with seawater, thank you, pumpkin. Thank you so much. What is that? Oh, this is the peppermint. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. So, there's salt water there. I'm telling you, if I were the governor, if I were the mayor, first of all, I would have had some sort of better management of the dry grasses and the area above. I'd have a plan in place for evacuation. I wouldn't block people. And also when there's a fire, you definitely want to have the power out, but there's nothing wrong with driving over power lines. There's nothing wrong with coming up to a log and you can't get over it. Sometimes you can, depending on the kind of vehicle. If you're in a four-wheel drive, a big truck, you can. But for some people, you get to that log, you can't get over it. You're going to get out of your car and you're going to walk over it, run over it. But at least you can get out of the fire itself. And I'm just going to comment on that. To block people in is beyond a crime. It's just heinous. It's beyond comprehension that anyone, any person, public servant, police, anyone could follow orders in a situation like that. I don't know how you could live with yourself. You're going to need counseling the rest of your life. And you can reach out to me if you're one of those people that didn't let people out. You should contact me and talk to me and tell me why. Why would you follow orders like that? Let people escape a fire. Don't let children burn to death. What if that was you? But more importantly, I want to talk about, you could actually have a sprinkler system. It wouldn't be that hard. There's pumps. You want to sit down? Yeah, we'll just move this right over here and make a little seat for you. Go. This is my Maui princess right here. Right? Thank you. Is that peppermint? Peppermint. Say peppermint.
No.
You can't say that?
Santina.
Okay. There are nozzles that can shoot water up in the air, hundreds of feet. We have plenty of water right there. You could throw a line in. The pump could be set up right there. The pump could be built right on the shore. It could be a building. It could be a small building, a pump for fire that would shoot water in every direction over the entire town. That wouldn't be hard to do. Why didn't anyone think of that? No, this is the thing, is we're living in 2023. Technology is such that there's so many things that humans can do, amazing things. We've lived in Singapore. Talk about modern, and it's awesome there. What?
A baby one.
That's a baby tree. Yeah, this is a baby olive tree.
Baby tree.
That's a big tree, and this is a baby tree. The baby tree is going to grow just like you. So why didn't they do something like that? The solution to a fire is water, and they're right by the ocean, and why aren't they using the ocean water? You're afraid people are going to get wet? It's better to get wet than burned. Wet. Okay, guys, I'm going to conclude this. I'm sorry it's long and I'm talking slow, but I don't know what else to do except to tell you that I'm here to help you. I am going to start getting back to people, so I can't just keep posting videos right now. I need to spend the next 30 days trying to answer the thousands of texts and calls that came in. This is what I would say, guys. If you're trying to reach me, my voicemail is full. Obviously, that's a problem. I need volunteers. I've got about half a dozen volunteers so far willing to answer phone calls. I'm trying to remember who you are while I'm juggling all these family duties and stuff. That's a really great idea to line them up. And, I'm going to figure this out by God's grace, and I just want to make sure that, I know there's someone out there who's called me and they're probably frustrated and saying, I've called, maybe that's what FEMA feels like. But FEMA is not me, okay? They don't have a family. They're an agency we give money to. We trust these agencies, at least some people do, to give money thinking that they're able to help. I'm sorry that our president didn't go there immediately and drop everything and say, hey, guys, I'm the president of the United States. Put everyone in a hotel. Let's make sure they have water. Give everybody here that suffered immediate advance of some money. Why didn't he do that? That's what I think FEMA should do. I mean, why wasn't there a container full of water bottles immediately the first day. Why is there always these delays, like at Katrina or any of these disasters? You know, the horrible things that happen in the wake shouldn't happen. It doesn't take a lot of knowledge to figure out these things. You have the stuff. In fact, I'm going to tell you about an invention of ending. I'm going to share some things with you. I'm working on this project that's pretty exciting to help people with disasters immediately in the wake, providing food and things like that. Have it ready and just primed, and so you don't have the, wow, you're making a little orchard, aren't you? Guys, we love you. Mahalo. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye-bye. We love you. Mahalo. Take care. God bless. This is our little orchard here. Vineyard. Got a lot of plants. This tire goes up to the property. Look at this. Grapes, walnuts. We're making a smoothie here this morning, which we do every single morning. Abiella sits up here on the counter. We blend the vegetables, and then I do that while sweetheart here makes juice.
Beets and carrots.
Beets and carrots. Get some kale here as well. Okay. These grapes are actually growing over the fence from our neighbor, and of course they're on our side, so I'll put those in there with the stems. Stems will blend up, no problem.